Hello and welcome. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Today's lecture topic is emotional development in infants and toddlers. Those first feelings are so important. And I want to start off by asking you a question regarding infants and emotions. What do babies feel? Clearly a time in our lives that we can't recollect. We're not able to report on what we felt. So what do you think babies feel? Do you think of sensory input such as touch or warmth? Can they feel safe and secure, connected even? We know that from the get-go, infants are building their idea of the world based off their experiences. A child that is tended to promptly when in distress is going to form a belief or expectation that when they are distressed, they will be taken care of. For infants, this expectation is created through experiences that are referred to in our text as a somatosensory bath, that is, physical sensations such as touch, sound, smell, and movement. All of these things are wired into the infant's brain. Like we talked about in Chapter 2, Brain Development, the neurons are creating these pathways that lead the infant to expect one thing or another. A baby that is soothed through a gentle voice, a warm touch, a soft embrace, will come to trust and connect with their caregiver, whereas a baby whose cries go unattended to will eventually expect rejection. Scientists describe the emotional tie that forms between infant and caregiver as attachment, a way of relating to or feeling connected with a caregiver. The two broad categories are secure and insecure. Infants who have formed a secure attachment or who have secure relationships have an expectation that their primary caregiver is someone who will keep them safe and secure. According to the theory of attachment, this expectation is based off of the way their needs are met and the way their caregiver notices and responds to their signals in infancy. Insecure attachment, on the other hand, refers to infants that have come to expect to be ignored or rejected when in distress. This expectation comes from experiences of unresponsive or inconsistent care. It's important to note that these patterns can be changed with intervention, and we'll be going over a model today called the Circle of Security that is designed to support healthy attachment. So now think about what it means from the infant's perspective to feel connected. Perhaps they feel trust. Perhaps they feel safe. What do you think? I would like you to come back to the PDF of our slides and click on the link below to watch Dr. Alison Gopnik describe attachment and findings from Dr. Susan Johnson's research comparing secure infants to insecure infants, and then ask yourself, what does the secure baby expect? What does the insecure baby expect? What conditions may the baby have experienced that led them to their response? With attachment in mind and speaking of feeling secure, I would like you to review the Circle of Security, a model created for understanding the everyday coming and going that happens within relationships. This model emphasizes supporting exploration and welcoming reconnection. The first link on this slide is inactive, but if you go to the second link down here, Circle of Security DVD excerpt, it'll take you to YouTube, and while in YouTube, you can search Circle of Security animation, and you will find a nice overview of the model. The Circle of Security was created by Cooper, Harper, and Powell and is based off of years of attachment research. The link below takes you to the Circle of Security webpage that has great resources for teachers and parents. Here's the graphic of the Circle of Security. The hands are the caregiver, providing a secure base from which the child can go and explore, as well as a safe haven to which they can return. They're saying, I support your exploration, and I will watch over you, delight in you, help you, and enjoy with you. And when you need me, I will be here to welcome you, protect you, delight in you, and support you in organizing your feelings. This model also provides the message that no parent is perfect, but to try to remember to always be bigger, stronger, wiser, and kind. Along with the Circle of Security comes the Circle of Repair, which is a guide for parents designed to support children in trusting in their relationships and help them support their children by providing confidence that they will be there. It shows the parent that as a child explores, they may become upset, and this can be displayed in different ways. But the message behind their behavior is that I need you. The child may not know what to do with their feelings. They're learning, and so these feelings may come out in different behaviors. What the child needs from the parent may be different every time. Some reminders are to stay calm, be kind, take charge, and help the child to return to what they were doing, or possibly provide a new option. To better understand attachment and what it looks like, please view the Strange Situation Experiment, which shows some of the research behind attachment. Our book introduces this work by Mary Ainsworth and explains briefly how attachment can be measured in 1-year-olds. After watching the clip, think about some reasons why it's important to understand attachment theory with infants and toddlers. This link will lead you to the video Trauma, Brain, and Relationships: Helping Children Heal, created by the Post Institute, which is an approach for helping children with challenging behaviors and designed specifically for children with attachment issues. While watching this video, take note of how babies respond to stress. And after viewing the video, reflect first on the impact of stress on babies' brains, and then on how relationships buffer stress. To go deeper in your understanding of the stress response system, follow this link to hear Dr. Bruce Perry describe how a baby's stress response system can develop normally as compared to how it develops abnormally. In your weekly module is an activity on the still face experiment, which includes this clip from Dr. Ed Tronick. You can click on it and watch it here, but just know there are questions attached to the activity within our weekly module. There's also a highlight in our text about this experiment. In this clip, Dr. Tronick describes what happens in the everyday interactions between infant and caregiver and shows us how babies respond to typical and atypical patterns of rupture and repair. Rupture being when the expected engaged interaction of a parent or caregiver is not met, and repair being when the expected engagement returns. Dr. Tronick emphasized the importance of the repair, showing the infant that there's no need for alarm. These areas of rupture occur throughout the day in routines and interactions between the child and caregiver, but when repair occurs, it instills in the child that there's no need for alarm, that they can trust that the expected relationship will return. Think about why this is important to know and what we can do with this information when working with infants and toddlers. Babies experience some form of stress just in day-to-day life, from being hungry or having a wet diaper. These moderate amounts of stress are tolerable and not a cause for alarm. However, when a baby's faced with high levels of stress that are consistent and long-lasting, then there's the risk of affecting the developing brain. The amygdala, found in the limbic region of the brain, acts as the fire alarm. It alerts danger, threat, and says, "Pay attention." This structure is working at birth, so infants come into this world with the ability to sense danger. The amygdala signals the release of the stress hormone cortisol. At high levels, cortisol can negatively impact brain development. Another thing that happens when a baby is stressed can be found in the vagal nerve. The vagal nerve, also working at birth, sends signals of safety or threat from the brain to the organs, enabling us to take action. Mary Jane McGuire-Fong explains it as brakes on a tire. When it is on, everything slows down: breath rate, heart rate, blood flow. If a threat's detected or prolonged stress occurs, the brake is released, and breath rate, heart rate, blood flow, body temperature, all of these things speed up in order to prepare the body for action. You can see the stress response happen in the still face experiment. When the mother looks away with a still face, the infant notices something isn't right, and then acts upon this by trying everything in her power to reset their interaction or regain the expected interaction. Dr. Tronick refers to the dynamic between caregiver and infant as mutual regulation. That is, both the caregiver and the baby are influenced by one another's feelings and states. The baby looks to the caregiver for cues, both calming and alarming. This is a way for relationships to buffer stress. When a baby experiences positive, trusting relationships, their bodies are actually better able to regulate stress hormones. However, a baby that experiences constant, elevated levels of stress may be at risk of the brain becoming accustomed to these high levels of stress. An infant under stress picks up danger or threat through their senses. The amygdala triggers the release of cortisol, and high levels of cortisol can kill brain cells and impact things such as memory, attention, and the immune system. What happens is these sensations and feelings are stored as implicit memory even prior to birth. Remember, implicit memory is the recall of sensations. So when thinking about stress, infants, and memory, think about the following questions. With repeated exposure to stress, will a baby build a stress response system accustomed to high stress or moderate stress? Is this good or bad? Will a baby be more inclined to anger easily or react impulsively? Why or why not? With repeated exposure to stress, will a baby be vulnerable to the negative consequences of frequent dose of high levels of cortisol? If so, how? And will a baby explore more or less and thus learn more or less? Going back to the still face clip, did you see evidence of a baby coping with stress? What about mutual regulation? Apply what you know now about the stress response system to predict what happens when a securely attached infant is separated from and then reunited with a parent. Do the same for an insecurely attached infant. Will he or she want to explore? How about when alone? Why? Why not? Will she be excited upon a reunion? Why? Why not? Separation and sadness can be great opportunities for learning for children, parents, and teachers. If handled delicately, an infant or toddler can eventually trust that after a goodbye, a hello will follow. When a parent leaves and a separation happens, the child can feel sad, confused, or scared. Parents, of course, want to protect their children from these emotions, and so will sometimes try to sneak out of the classroom without the child seeing them. In doing this, the parent doesn't see the child's sad emotions, but the child will always eventually discover the parent is gone, and that can leave them feeling even more sad and confused. The teacher can also struggle with this process. These types of situations can often be resolved when a gradual transition is supported, communication between teacher and parents is open, and a goodbye ritual is established in which the child is part of. In Chapter 5, Reflection, an Italian model for adjustment to group care, the transitional period of a child into group care is referred to as a delicate period of adjustment that happens over several weeks. There may be barriers to instituting this, however, it is something to think about. Goodbye rituals involving reflective dialogue are something that can engage the family and also support the child. When bringing the family into the plan, their emotions and views are validated, and by involving the child, they can have the certainty of knowing when the parent leaves, they will return. And over time, the infant can make meaning of the ritual and trust in knowing that the parent will return. When the feelings around separation are acknowledged, validated, and supported, departure of a parent can turn into a learning opportunity in which the child learns to cope with their feelings and make meaning of the situation.